to the One More Game podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Culver, aka Darce, and with me is a special guest, the most interesting man of Minnesota. It is Clark Feldman. Clark, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, happy to be on. I guess I have put a lot of feathers in my cap recently.
You do
Uh,
so many different things that I'm sure a number of the people listening to the podcast are going to love and enjoy. You, of course, as I said, do a lot of things. So without me just, spilling off everything, tell people a little bit about yourself.
sure. Where to start? I am a variety streamer on Twitch and YouTube. I cover a range of games. Like I love RPGs, anything that's like scary, and really like anything that has like a wacky or fun concept. Like I think for did it drop last year? I think Thank Goodness You're Here is like one of the funniest games I've ever played.
Yeah, that dropped late last year. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was last year or this year. Um, Besides that, at like other points in my life, I was a DJ for both old school radio where I had like the soundboard and like the did more digital format. Been a musician, been a pro wrestling referee, and now I'm also starting to dabble into video game journalism.
Yeah, man, you've done so many different things, and obviously, like we've known each other for a few years now.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say.
yeah, I met you technically, so that everyone kind of gets the background. I met you through TikTok back in, I want to say it was like early 2022. You popped up randomly on my feed and we started chatting. And then I moved up here to Minnesota, or I was in the process. And that's when I found out you're also up here in Minnesota.
Yeah, there's a lot of us.
Yeah, and so then we've been obviously chatting and doing meetups since, and so of course this is the first time we're doing a collaboration of any sort, so to speak, on our content creation business. And I will say, as you said, you've been dabbling in so many things. You talked about your referee thing. Of course, many of you might notice the handle is Referee Clark. That's obviously where it comes from, and I don't know if you
Yep.
noticed, but I used the classic you putting on the gunner shades as your promo photo for this podcast. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
hell yeah, I could not pass it up. I mean, come on, we gotta show it off, right? Show it off everywhere we
Absolutely.
go. But yeah, so Clark, obviously we have your stuff here in the description below, when it comes to the various networks that people can find you. But let's just quickly, as a slight introduction before we get into the easy parts or the early parts of the podcast, is you're here not necessarily representing Referee Clark streaming, but you got to do some journalism things. So I guess I want to ask for you to kind of introduce, like, what is the website that you kind of work with, and in a sense, how long have you been doing that?
Absolutely. I write for a site called LV1 Gaming. I think their concept is everyone starts at level one. So as Baron Jones, Baron is the dude, by the way. Like um, he got an opportunity when like a lot of other places were saying like yeah, we'd love to have you, but you need more experience, those sorts of things. So I think LV1 Gaming started as a partially as a way to solve that, like giving folks an opportunity to start to write, hone their chops, that sort of thing. But even circling back to like, or not circling back, but going back a little bit more. I met Baron through one of the stream teams I was a part of, an all indigenous stream team, and so like we'd game online a little bit, and I want to say maybe or sometime around like this summer or this past summer, time flies. I saw he reshared something from the LV1 account that they're looking for more. They're looking to bring on more writers to cover, gaming news, reviews, all that good stuff. And I was like, like people said I'm okay at writing. I Why not?
I love
So
it.
I hit him up and I'm like, hey, yeah.
I love it. You put it like, I'm okay.
No, it's like I don't suck. People are like, oh yeah, whenever asking me, like check some stuff out. And I think from there I started writing like, every couple of weeks or so it'd be a blurb like, hey, here's what I did out of TwitchCon, or I think I think the first article I sent him when he wanted a sample is just me talking about how excited I was for the Silent Hill 2 remake, which
Mm.
it was a banger, and I'm also excited for the Silent Hill 1 remake that's dropping.
Yeah, yeah. I know obviously a lot of people really like the Silent Hill 2 remake. I'm still haven't played it. I'm really excited for it because I remember it as a kid where it was absolutely terrifying to play.
Yep.
And so seeing it come back and in the way that Bloober Team ended up handling it, it's very was really cool to see them take this, iconic game and do it service to where people really enjoyed it. New people were able to be exposed to it. So, of course, as you said, with the most recent Konami press start stream, which, by the way, they did not ask me if they could use press start, just so you're aware. But anyway,
Gimmick infringement.
yeah. So, but no, of course, it was cool to see, yeah, that thing. And obviously, one of the other things, going back to what you said about being an RPG fan, even though it's for iOS and Android as well, but it's also PC. The new Suikoden announcement was a really cool touch too. I kind of figured it was coming, but it was still nice to see. So, and of course,
I believe it's getting a Steam port too now. So I'm like, okay, I'm in.
yeah. That's the thing is they announced it was for Steam or PC, iOS, and Android, and that iOS and Android made me a little worried. But then when I saw the trailer and the way they described it, it sounds like right now that it is a genuine Suikoden and not a gotcha type one. But we'll find out, obviously, when it comes time, because I don't think they had even a release year on it. They just kind of was like, hey, we're also working on this thing. But it looked really fantastic.
Sure. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little gun shy about those because like I sank so many hours into the Disgaea mobile game. It's like another random series I love.
Oh yeah.
And it got to like I was on there just like grinding constantly, and I'm like, it's cool that they're doing collabs with like Attack on Titan, Seven Deadly Sins, etc. And then the what's a word? Unceremoniously shut down. I'm like, my options now are to either like learn Japanese, which probably not gonna happen anytime soon, or just accept that I sunk like way too much time into this game.
Yeah, my friends always say that I'm notorious for introducing them to a gotcha game, playing it for a week, and then never getting on it while they keep playing it, and that's typically how it goes with me. So, which also Shadowverse Worlds Beyond just dropped, and you should check it out. It's a card game. It's a lot of fun. Anyway. We're talking about some newer games, again, the Konami stuff, and that's partially why you're here. So we'll get into, here's some talks. You went to Summer Games Fest. We're going to be talking about some of the games that you experienced there and got a chance to show off and look at. So I have lots of questions. Obviously, those that are watching live on youtube.com/@PressStart28 or over on twitch.tv/Darcy28. Go ahead and let me know in the chat some questions that we can pass along to Clark to see if there are any things of the games that you are going to talk about. But before we get into that, if this is your first time to the podcast, welcome to the podcast. This is the One More Game Podcast, a podcast that is dedicated around making sure you're informed about all the video game news happening around the world. Whether it is PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or PC, if there's news that you need to know about, we'll make sure that you know about it. When you're listening to this on your podcast service, make sure you hit the subscribe button or the follow button, depending on what your service offers. And if your podcast service allows reviews, please leave a 5-star review and tell everyone why you love the One More Game Podcast, because we enjoy bringing this to you each and every time. I normally say week, but we haven't been doing it weekly because I can't commit to that yet, but I'm hopefully can get back to every week with that. With that being said, if this is your first time to the podcast, welcome to the podcast. I hope you enjoy your listen and I hope you enjoy your stay. But if you are returning, you already know what it is. We start off every single podcast talking about what we've been playing lately. So, Clark, what have you been playing lately?
Let's see. Lately, now it's funny. Beforehand, I had to check to make sure, like, I had the all clear to talk about some stuff. Um, Lately, I got to try out a game called Battle Train, which just released yesterday from Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
It's fun, pretty fun game. It's a roguelike deck builder, and it feels almost like it has board game mechanics. You Premise is pretty simple. You connect a train, run into stuff, cause big explosions. But as I started to sink more and more time into it, I'm like, okay, this has a lot of depth to it. Humor is on point. Um, what else have I been doing? I've been trying to do Expedition 33. I'm towards the end game, and it's just like optional dungeon after optional dungeon after optional dungeon. I've been dabbling a little bit in blueprints and some of the puzzles. I'm like, I think I'm too dumb for this game.
Yeah, I want to say just real quick. So yeah, the Battle Train one, as you said, it is the roguelike deck builder. It's currently as a launch price on sale for $17.99 over on Steam. Pretty good reviews. I've seen some people really enjoying it, so I'm glad that it seems like you're enjoying it too. And then, of course, as you said, that you've been playing Expedition 33, you've been streaming it. So you have like a whole backlog that if people want to check out, they can go check it out. But it sounded like you wanted to say a little bit more about Battle Train, so go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that it wouldn't have been fair to give a full review for Battle Train just because like it has a lot of strengths, but there was some of the boss mechanics were pretty unfair. And there maybe they'll patch it, and if so, then I'm like, hell yeah, this would be a must purchase game. Like some of the boss mechanics are unfair, and there isn't an option to just like fast forward the enemy's turn. So if you get stun locked pretty deep into a run, it's kind of a bummer.
Oh man, and that's the worst because the games that are like that where it's the roguelike, you have to get to you have to build yourself back up to that point. If you don't have the ability to like 2 times the speed and move things along faster, then it's a drag to get there. And yeah, obviously in every game, obviously you being an RPG fan, you know how it feels, but it's like anytime you are just perpetually stun locked, it's just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I've been in the Xenogears trenches. I know what it's like to have to sit through like a 2-hour cutscene that isn't skippable to, make another attempt on a boss. But I'm like, I think we've moved past that a little bit. I think we can add in like skips or like skip scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for myself, funny enough, I've been playing a little bit of Expedition 33. So I am not at Act 3. I'm not towards the end. I'm in Act 2 at the very early parts of Act 2. Just got there. Part of the reason is because, funny enough, I was originally going to play it on Xbox Game Pass because, of course, it is an Xbox Game Pass game. And then my friend, who is part of my Steam family plan, couldn't hold back, so he bought the game on Steam. And, of course, I was like, well, if I don't have to activate my Game Pass right now, I'll just play it on that. So right now there is 3 people who are alternating between playing Expedition 33 because we got 1 copy. So I randomly hop in and play it. Obviously, as a huge JRPG fan, and with this game having so much homage to JRPGs, it's a French studio that made it, but it is a fantastic game. I very much am in love with the look of it, the combat, the way that the combat and the ability or the times that you actually have to pay attention also when you're being attacked is great. I liken it a lot, the combat, even though it's not exactly. I liken it to The Legend of Dragoon, which I know, Clark, you're familiar with, from the fact of just like when you do attacks, there are time button bonuses that you basically need to do to make sure you get that ultimate kind of combat. So I know that for some people, the graphics of The Legend of Dragoon are going to be too old school, I should say, for them. But the game is still fantastic. It's on PS5, The Legend of Dragoon, so I totally recommend it. But if you like this combat, you may end up liking The Legend of Dragoon as well because of that similar style. Now, the defensive maneuvers is something that not many games do. There are some other games that do have like a defensive structure. One of them is actually sitting on my back shelf here called Exist Archive, where
I've not heard of that.
yeah. So actually, we'll hold on one second. We're gonna grab this real quick.
Okay. And then also to expand on your points about combat, besides Legend of Dragoon, the combat also reminded me.
I grabbed this because, of course, it's right here. Exist Archive. It is a game by Tri-Ace, an older game originally released on the in the PS Vita, but also had a PS4 port, which I have it right here. It is very likened to the Valkyria Profile games, where you have button inputs when it comes to like which of your characters are attacking. But at the same time, when enemies come and attack you, if you click the button of the character that is being targeted, you will reduce their damage or have a chance to actually evade the damage. So it's a very nice combat, and so that's kind of where I get some of these feelings with Expedition 33. And I heard you talk about Shadow Hearts 2. That is also another thing that I do consider this game to be like. I'm a huge Shadow Hearts fan. The only reason why I don't...
Just like the Judgment Ring system.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason I don't fully liken it to that, I liken it, of course, more to Legend of Dragoon, is simply because, as you said, with the Judgment system, it is a full ring, circle ring. So the inputs are always based on... You need to hit this whole rhythm, whereas with Expedition 33, there's usually multiple button inputs. And, of course, you're still hitting X, right, or A or whatever you're playing. But it is the timings of those are different to try to throw you off and make you not get the critical hits, similar to Legend of Dragoon. So, but Shadow Hearts, another great shout-out. Personally, real quick, I want to say I'm worried about Penny Blood. That game was supposed to be coming out. I backed it. I am fully admitted I backed it, as well as Armed Fantasia. Sure. And I'm a little nervous, especially when one of the other games I backed just shut down yesterday. So I'm worried.
Fingers crossed. So I mean, like Eiyuden Chronicles came out, so I'm like maybe 505 will pick them up.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that happen, but we'll see. So yeah. Go ahead.
I thought Eiyuden Chronicles was a pretty good spiritual successor to the Suikoden series.
Yeah, I own Eiyuden Chronicles on PC, and then it recently, for those that have PS Plus, on PS Plus Extra, it just got added to the library yesterday. Also, Kitty alert here on the stream if you're watching the visuals. I'm going to ask a quick question. What is the cat's name? Lion. All right.
Very orange and very floofy for those listening.
But yeah, I was going to say totally recommend checking out Eiyuden Chronicles now that it's on PS Plus. I think someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is still also on Xbox Game Pass, but I could be wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's also still there.
It's in the backlog.
Multiple options for you to play it. I'm still early in it, but of course I'm a fan of Suikoden, so like I think that it is a worthwhile entry to jump into, especially again if you have these streaming services. But enough about that. We've been talking about what we've been playing lately for quite a bit. Let's get to the main topic of the show, and that is the most interesting man in Minnesota was welcomed down to Los Angeles, California to go to Summer Game Fest. And for quick background, this was a really funny interaction because you messaged me, I want to say it was like Tuesday that week, and you said, "Are you doing Summer Games Fest?" And I had responded, "Yeah, I have Friday off. Like, I'm going to stream it." And then I said, "How about you?" And you go, "Yeah, I land on Friday." And I went, "Wait a minute. You land on Friday?" So of course, yes, you got to go down to Summer Game Fest. Top level, real quick. What was it like? Like, not even just talking about going to play, but just going there. What was it like going and being there for Summer Game Fest? For those that obviously have not had the opportunity to do something like that.
I've I thought it was gonna be just kind of a wild, like, all right, you know what? It's time to bet on myself and take some risks. And once I started seeing appointments get lined up, like I think like I confirmed a couple appointments like mid-flight where it was like, oh hey, like these folks want to sit down and talk to me. Like I'm apparently just not, some random. That was validating. And then I think the day where like I went to play dates to like pick up my credentials, I was like, that's when it sank in, like where I'm getting like the campus map and everything else. And I'm like, oh, this is real.
That is, yeah, that is really awesome. I have not been able to do an experience like that, but I have a similar situation from when I did my job doing video game tournaments. Kind of the very first one, it was kind of that thing of like I always watched it online and like really enjoyed the experience, and then it was kind of like that, like you said, that the realization hit when like I finally, even though I spent the few days setting up, it was like when I got my badge to be like, hey, like you're a worker here. It was like, wow, like I'm here. Like, this is real.
Right.
And so, of course, yeah, I'm obviously very happy and very proud that you were able to make something like that happen. But we're going to talk about that, of course, as you said, you got to go to Play Days, which is an opportunity where you get to go and play some of the games, if not all. Sometimes, there are games that are withheld, but some of the games that are shown off during the showcases that, obviously are not out just yet. So for those that are listening at home, so that we understand, is I had Clark basically bring 6 games to the table, and we're going to talk about some of the games that he really, really liked, the games that he kind of liked, but there were some things that he thinks potentially need to be changed to get the best result, so to speak, of that, and then one game that kind of disappointed him. All right. I think that that's a good structure. So that way, one, we don't highlight all the negative stuff, but I think, of course, that might be a good indicator and helpful thing for people at home. So again, as Clark is talking about these games, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in chat, and I will pass some of those questions along to Clark if I'm not already asking the questions.
Sure. And I see a couple, like I've got at least the YouTube chat up.
Yeah, that's the one I will say you're going to get the most chatter from is YouTube, because people there don't have to deal with ads, so they like to watch the podcast over there. Yeah.
I saw that Kairu Gaming immediately asked if I got to play Killer In, and unfortunately, no.
Yes, that was one that Kairu and I, so we co-streamed watching and reacting to the Summer Games Fest together, and we both got very interested in Killer In because we love multiplayer games. We love social seduction games. And so it's kind of that thing of let's go, let's figure this out. This looks really cool. So,
yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this is the First Class Trouble, kind of looking game.
Yeah, very much so. With a little bit more combat and minimal spy versus spy kind of feeling, right? Like you had the wolves versus the lambs, and the lambs are trying to, out the wolves, but the wolves are trying to kill the lambs. I'm a really cool concept. I'm signed up to try to get into the beta test. I hopefully will, and if I do, we'll try to. If there's no NDA, we'll stream it. We'll stream it here on the channel.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I guess to expand on that answer a little bit too. A couple of games that I really wanted to get around to, but unfortunately, they were booked up. Were Pragmata, Pragmata and Mixtape, which seem to be the standout games from friends and colleagues.
Yeah. From the amount of previews and podcasts that I've listened to, I do agree. Both those games seem to constantly get some great praises from that. So I'm looking forward to getting my hand on that at some point. But that's kind of where I was going to start with. So I think it's important for people to kind of understand, in a sense, what you were able to get exposure to, so to speak, and what you weren't. Because, of course, Summer Game Fest incorporates a lot of different things when it comes to the streaming and viewing side of things. But Clark, if you could kind of just clarify, like when you went to Play Days, was it just games that were showing off at Summer Game Fest? Were there ones that were showing off at like Future Game Show or the Xbox Showcase that happened on Sunday? Like, so that way people understand the frame and games that you're going to be bringing to the table here.
Sure. And also, I believe it was Friday night. I also got to attend the Mixed Summer Game Showcase.
Oh yeah,
Mix
yeah.
is yep. So I got to see a lot of cool indie games from that side. And I'm trying to cross reference, like, 'cause I haven't had a chance to catch up with the Xbox Direct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like there's definitely a few games where it was like they would show the trailer during SGF, and then out at Play Days we'd get to try a demo or get a little more hands on.
Yeah. All right. So, with that being said, let's get into this, and then I have a follow up question that I will admit I did not put on the rundown here, but we'll
Oh,
cross
all
that
right.
road when we get to that one. So let's start with the good. Okay, I want to start right away. We're gonna kind of bounce around because I want to not stack all the good in one spot, in the mids and the bads in any spots. But we're gonna start with a good. So, Clark, what is the first game that you are bringing to the table that you felt was really good when you played it?
I got to have a lot of time with Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. It's an upcoming Souls-like by 505 Games. I thought the protagonist was awesome, and as being like one of the genres I love is Souls-like stuff. So I've done like First Berserker, a lot of the FromSoft stuff, and I also like Liza P. I think like during the demo we had the opportunity to try and fight three bosses, and I think like only one person each day managed to like survive that gauntlet.
Wow.
And um, it's got a lot of the staples of the Soulsborne genre, which is like kind of surreal to say. Like all of these non From Software games are like coming for that crown and doing a great job. Let's Some of the standout things from like Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, like the graphics are cool.
Mm-hmm.
By Wu Chang, the character you play as, she's a badass, and I like that the weapon system, like mid fight, you could switch between like you could equip two weapons and switch between them just like seamlessly, almost like continued combos. I thought that was sick. Um,
Now,
trying to trying to th- trying to
yeah.
think of what else like really stood out.
Well, when I want to ask real quick off of that, so it's awesome that you hear that because, of course, that's a game that is releasing next month, I believe in July. I can't remember the exact date. I'll look it up while you're answering this next question. But that was a game that some people did get a chance to get hands on with back at the GDC, the Game Developers Conference, back in March. And one of the comments that was made during that time that I want to get your input in on is, as you had said, because of course this is a Souls-like game, so there's a lot of like similarities to the Surge and First Berserker Kazan and a
Liza
game,
P.
yeah, Liza P, a game that I'm recently playing right now, Stellar Blade, right? There's
Nah.
these
Oh,
things.
sure.
One of the things, though, that was commented was that they said that the button layout or the way that it's structured felt weird because of, like, it didn't follow exactly like some of those other ones do. In your experience, when you touched it, did you have any kind of experience or feelings like that? Or did, like, the controls seem maybe like they've updated since then to what you felt?
I felt like they updated it since then because it was like instinctively I was like, okay, like A is dodge, and like even though it was on PC, it was mapped for like the Xbox controller, like the non-standard gaming controller. It was like holding down B was like run, or like when I was going down a ladder, like a lot of standard, a lot of the staples of like the Soulsborne stuff
Okay.
were there.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good because I know that like that was something that I found very weird and interesting at the same time back during the GDC like comments and stuff. So I'm glad in a sense that something must have been iterated during that time that the controls got updated. And so, yes, while you were talking, yes, this is releasing July 24th. And as a reminder, this is another game that is launching on Game Pass. So, another easy way to dive in and try this out. If you like Souls-like games, but if you don't like Souls-like games, something to check out. How long did you end up getting hands-on with it? Like, how long was your time with that demo?
I want to say it was either a half hour or an hour, and I kept begging the dev team, like, "Hey, come on, one more try, one more try. Like, this is the run." And there were a couple times where they were like the whole 505 team was awesome. Once I realized, like, oh yeah, these are the folks that did like Terraria, Control, um, Iden Chronicles. I'm like, you guys have at least like taken up like at least like a year or three of like games I've played.
Yeah, I know that you did a full run through of Control, and you really really enjoyed it. So of course, it got great reviews. So I'm not surprised. You talked about the graphics, and how like great they were. How did you feel about the boss designs? Because you said you got in a sense, there's an opportunity to try to fight three. How did you feel
Yep, I
those
fought
boss
two.
stood out?
First one was kind of like a tutorial boss, almost like a mini boss. Um, Second one, which that was the one like I kept like insisting, like, okay, this is a run. I thought it was cool where I hate using like Soulsborne tropes. So it's like if you're a fan of the genre, you kind of come to expect like certain things. Like you go through a shrine, there's a cool like cut scene. Um, I thought the boss had been the boss had two phases, and I thought it was awesome during the second phase where like he just starts lighting shit on fire.
Oh, nice. One comment or question in chat that you might see from Kairu Gaming says, if it's a Souls-like, is there the same concept of dying and have to go back in to get your stuff
Oh,
back?
the boss arena, yep.
Yeah.
Um, that was like my one irk on the, and like maybe it'll get updated in time for release. So I thought like when Liza P added in that feature where they set your souls outside of the boss arena, that's awesome. Um, from what I gathered, yeah, you'll have to go into the boss arena and risk it. But
Okay.
also, like when you die, they're adding in a mechanic where you can deal and receive more damage.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you die like I don't know, like 2-3 times with the boss, you end up getting a lot more buffed, but it also comes with the cost of it's easier to get one shotted.
Okay. So they kind of give you a strength boost, but it's almost like a glass cannon type thing where like you also take a lot more damage off of it.
Yeah, like it adds like an interesting like push pull. Like do I want to just like run right to this boss, or do I want to like explore a little bit, fight some mobs around the area, and then like circle back?
Is this a? I know that, of course, I just announced though that this is coming to Game Pass. For those that don't know, I have to ask you, as someone who likes Souls-like games, is this a game that you think you would jump into right away, or are you going to wait a little bit? Again, I want to preface this with you do stream, you do have, obviously marathon, so to speak, of like games that you try to finish. So I know that might factor into it. But is this something that you're looking forward to jumping into on July 24th, or is it something that you want to see how the full release comes out before you dive in?
I think I'll be able to jump into it on release. And I'm stoked.
All right. Well, there you go. So there is Wuchang Fallen Feathers, again, coming out on July 24th, coming out for PlayStation, Xbox, Xbox Series, and PC. And again, it's going to be on Game Pass on release date. So the next game, we're talking about a game that you played, maybe you liked a little bit, but you had a little bit more issues with. I always described it in our thing of like, you felt it was a little bit more mid. So what is the second game that you played that you just didn't vibe with fully?
I don't want to say I didn't vibe with it fully, but um, I got to try out Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba 2, and I hadn't played the first one, and I know like almost like a Wikipedia crawler like of like what Demon Slayer is. So I think that was a lot to jump into at once, and I don't know, like it's it's like a love hate thing where I feel like a lot of the Sega combat systems are all like Yakuza, but under a different skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is a game that's coming from CyberConnect to makers of obviously a ton of different games like this. They've made uh, my personal favorites are the Doc Hack games. They've also made the and I'm having a brain fart on them right now. The uh, It'll come back to me here in a second, but they've also made, of course, the Naruto games, things like that. So because of my connection with the Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm games, is it a battle? Is it a battle arena type thing, almost like a 3D
Yep.
fighter? Okay.
Yep, kind of a 3D fighter. The demo we ended up going through like story mode, so it was like there'd be some areas to explore. You'd get to the boss arena, and there'd be like some cutscenes to explain like that story arc.
Okay. So they actually is so there is a little bit of like a map that you traverse to get from fight to fight. It's not like
Yep.
almost like a level select type of thing.
Yeah, no. There's like I it almost reminded me a little bit of like when I did like Yakuza like a Dragon Ishin, where there's bits where I'm almost gonna embarrass myself just from not knowing much about like Demon Slayer
Oh,
because
you're
like
good, man. I will tell you, I've only watched I mean, I've watched the first 3 seasons at this point. I still need to catch up, but my wife binged it all. She ended up loving it so much.
I had to look quick. I was like, all right, you like for the part I played, you're like Inosuke and you're rampaging through this parlor to try and find like some spirits, and then that segues into a boss fight against the main character and one of the demons.
Okay. All right. So I guess what made you I guess in a sense what were the things that kind of didn't settle well with you in your experience with this? Again, we're not saying that you didn't like it, but there was obviously it's just some things that you again didn't connect with. What were the things that you feel like weren't there for you?
I think it was just like having maybe like a base knowledge of the anime. Like I'd even wondered like, is this one where I would need to play like the first game to really like have this land with me? Which yeah, like isn't necessarily a bad thing. I know it's like like second, third games in trilogies or series tend to trail off because of that effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have not played the first one. Now, technically, again, this is one of those games where because of my Steam family connection, my friend has the first one, so I do scroll by it and always think about booting it up. But this is coming out on August 1st, 2025, for PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, and Steam. So multiple different ways to play it. And obviously, if you're a Demon Slayer fan, kind of like you said, maybe you'll jive with it. Maybe you'll have a better connection. But it sounds like, at least based off of what you're saying, is that if you're not really connected with the Demon Slayer universe, it doesn't seem like it may fully connect with you. Does that feel safe to
Yeah, it's
say?
like don't get me wrong. I don't want to like say like oh it's a bad game or anything like that. But it's like would would I like go out and grab it on new release? Probably not. So I get confused as is amongst like all of the all of the various like anime games that get released.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like if you're a fan of it, like I would say seek it out.
yeah, yeah. And I want to make that clear too. Is like again, Clark is not saying that this game is bad by any measures. It just again didn't connect with him in the way that, of course, something like you said with Wuchang Fallen Feathers connected. Um, so let's get back to another good game. All right, a game that again I say good. It's just easy to describe it that way. A game that you connected with. So what was another game that just like Wuchang that you played and you felt like there was that connection?
Just from like the concept and premise alone, I was all in. But getting to get hands on with Directive 8020 was like, oh, let's go.
Directive 8020. So for those that don't know, can you describe a little bit what this is, and again, what did you like about it?
Sure. Directive 8020 is coming as part of season 2 of the Dark Pictures anthology, which included I keep forgetting how to pronounce it. Is it Manamadan?
I always say Manamadan. I don't know if it's Madan,
Yeah,
but
tomato, tomato. Yeah. But it came from that trilogy of like that, House of Ashes, The Devil and Me,
and Little
um,
Hope.
and Little Hope. Yep, don't want to forget that. And yeah, it was teased at the end in the post credits bit of The Devil and Me, where it's like, oh hey, if you like this, we got some more on the horizon. And it's also made by the folks that have done like Until Dawn and The Quarry.
Yeah,
Um,
two games that I absolutely love. I do have to say that real quick.
sure. So Directive 8020, I immediately like got vibes like that was in and like the devs on site confirmed like yeah, this is heavily influenced by the Thing and Event Horizon. Um so trying to think of how would you describe the gameplay, because there's like there's a lot of cutscenes where like things happen quick where you have to make like a split time decision, and there's a butterfly effect where it's like you give this character a weapon and they turn out to be like in this case like the Thing. In other games it's like okay, they're actually like a werewolf or something.
Yeah, so just to kind of connect with that, so that to pass along what you're kind of talking about. So Directive 8020 is described as this. It is an upcoming interactive drama and survival horror video game developed and published by Supermassive Games. Of course, it's the first game, coming out of the Dark Pictures anthology since the full 4-game connection. Directive 8020 presents from a third-person perspective, player control switching between the protagonist and the crew of a colony ship called Cassiopeia, which crash-landed on Toph Ceti F, a planet that is 12 light years from Earth. And so, yeah, if you're not familiar with these games, it is very much, there are a bunch of choices, a bunch of things that when you make a decision, it could very much impact future events and decisions in the coming forward. So I want to just ask before I get into my other questions is, did you play the Dark Pictures anthology? Like, did you play all of them?
I missed out on Little Hope, but like I've done Man of Medan and House of Ashes
Nice. So
and Until Dawn.
I want to ask, how different is the way that it plays compared to them? You know, like when you think of those games, obviously there is still going to be the choice-based things, but one of the things that always stands out, like especially when you play with a friend, is like there's always this like loading screen of like, okay, this player is about to play, so pass the controller to that person, and blah blah blah. Do they carry that over? How long did you play on this game? Things like that.
Sure. They dropped me right into the middle, so I didn't get to see like those loading screens. Um, it felt really fluid because part I had to do was a stealth section where the opening of the demo was like kind of given. It was a cinematic version, like what you said. It introduces us to a couple of characters, saying like, "Hey, Earth is Fubar. We need to take this colony ship and find a new Earth." Then it jumps ahead, and it's like the colony ship is it's not doing too well. There's like all sorts of like um, I call it like the place has been the joint's been like thingified. There's like all these growths everywhere. Crew members are like, or former crew members are like coming out of them. Um, so it dropped me into a stealth section where um one of the characters, Joseph Cernan, he's trying to get to a ladder that's like through all these like thingified areas, while his doppelganger is trying to like chase him down and you take him out.
Mm-hmm.
There was like the stealth stuff, like the controls felt fluid. The graphics, I feel like they stepped up this time around. Maybe it's because they demoed it on either, I forget if it was PC or on a PS5 Pro.
Okay.
But I was like, immediately I was like, okay, like these games have already been pretty cinematic, but like they're bringing they're pulling all the stops for this. Um, So yeah, in the bit I got to try, there's like a handy dandy scanner, which is like you hit a button and it pings where the monster is. And I'm terrible at stealth games, so I immediately like botched this part. Which, when you're talking about like how's this going to be different than the previous ones, that's that's a segue into it. Um, I had to do like a quick time event to escape. Some stuff happens, and it's like, all right, Joseph's gonna be injured. With like kind of that ominous like this is gonna come back to bite you later in the game. At that point, though, the devs kind of paused me, and they're like, all right, check this out. They added in a feature. I didn't get to try it during the demo, but they kind of showcased like the idea where you'll be able to like rewind and like pick from like all the branching trees.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, all right, what happens if I pick this choice instead of like that choice? Like you're able to jump into a menu and rewind right then and there. They also have like the classic mode where it's like whatever happens, you gotta live with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really cool because, yeah, with these games, there's so many different choices and options, and having to sometimes replay the entire thing to get to that point, like that one point that you want to make a slight decision, can sometimes be super annoying. Like, let's be realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're trying to get like a golden ending or it's like everybody lives and the way to get some of the people. I'm trying to think of like Until Dawn. There's like a couple really like some of the ways to make sure everyone survives are a little bit obtuse or would go against like like common sense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, give this character the gun, even though they're very suspicious.
Yeah. I there's definitely some choices that I made in Until Dawn that I was like, was that actually the right decision? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think this part was just kind of a showcase for like newcomers, like that system of having to make like rapid fire choices. After I completed the stealth section, they jumped ahead to a cutscene where like one character is like in jail or in quarantine, and they're trying to figure out like, all right, is this guy a human? Is he a thing? And like the crew's tense, they're yelling and swearing at each other, and then you get prompted to either just shoot the dude or stand down.
Mm.
I'm like, all right, I haven't seen like the thing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stand down, and then like, there's like a series of other like really quick time events, like trying to like calm down the rest of the crew. Eventually, they run the guy through the scanner. He turned out to be human.
Oh, so you did it. You...
But like some of the other people mentioned, there are timelines where that person turned out that person is the thing.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear it because, of course, I am a fan of supermassive games. I love these games. I play them with my wife, and like we always have a really great time. Like, kind of a date night. We boot this game up. We sit together and we play this thing. And of course, it's kind of like you're watching a movie, but of course you're making the choices. So
Sure.
the sci-fi aspect of Directive 8020 makes this like, I guess, that little bit more interesting to me because, of course, we've done like the general horror and ghost things from all the other games. That this is like the one, like, as you kind of said, like alien parasite type experience that I'm excited for. And of course, again, this one's coming out October 2nd, 2025 for PS5, PC, and Xbox Series. I think this is definitely a pickup for me. As someone who's played a bunch of them, are you gonna pick this up? Are you again similar?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so maybe we'll see. Maybe you'll see Clark streaming this over on his channel. So make sure you go give it a follow over there. All right, Clark, let's head back to another game. A game 4 again, a game that we kind of easy describing of just mid. So what's the next game you're bringing to me? What's game 4?
Okay, I almost like this is interesting because this is gonna be the opposite like side of the coin from from the Demon Slayer game. So I'm like, for me, I'm like, this is gonna be like a day one buy. I will probably grab the collector's edition, but um, I could also see the case being like some people will skip. I got to try the Toxic Crusaders beat 'em up out of the mix.
Okay.
Toxic Crusaders is an animated kids show by Troma Entertainment, known for like Toxic Avenger, uh, Cannibal the Musical, and lots of other films. And I want to say like the Toxic Crusaders, like that whole thing started because, or like Toxic Crusaders getting greenlit for a lot of things was because like New Line was trying to have a bargaining chip for one of the new Ninja Turtles movies in the 90s. Where it's like, all right, well, if you don't give us Ninja Turtles, we've got these Toxic Crusaders folks.
Amazing.
And it's like me just sitting here like info dumping about Trauma. I'm like, I feel like Trauma in general is like one where if you're aware of the company, if you're a fan, like you're instantly like, yes, I'm all in. If not, it might just come off as like, okay, this is like going to be another like Scott Pilgrim. Trying to think of like other games where it's like you're this classic like video you're this classic like TV show, but like in a beat 'em up format.
I mean, yeah, obviously, not saying that it's in the equivalent, but I mean, Datsumu with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge and things like that, right? Like, there's a something that you kind of gave a similarity to.
Sure. And like coming from like being a Trauma fan, I was like all in. I'm like, okay, cool. Like this game was adapted from the season 2 stuff that never got greenlit. Some of the character designs were from some of the toy line that didn't get greenlit. Like I'm like, okay, this is like a letter of love. Like all of the Trauma folks are involved, but it's again like I don't want to say it's a bad game. I just feel like if you're a fan of Trauma, like you're probably gonna be all in. Whereas like if not, you're gonna be like, okay, like it's a fun beat 'em up.
Yeah, I'm watching gameplay of it right now. Of course, I can't show it here for the viewers and stuff, but like it looks really fluid and fun. Obviously, again,
Yeah,
reminds me a lot of just the fluidity of it, of the again the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge and stuff. Like it looks like a lot of fun, and I think something that is great for people to know is on Steam, there is a demo for people to check out right now to see if it is your thing. And maybe you'll join Clark with wanting to get the collector's edition.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what else was there? Yeah, like I thought it was cool. Like all the characters had voice acting. The cutscenes were fun.
And you said
Like
this is coming from an indie studio?
Yep. I am. Let me grab because like they also had another like standout game for me from the mix that it is publisher's Retroware.
Interesting. They also have, because I'm looking this up, you could get a free 11-inch by 23-inch poster. You just have to pay for shipping. So, Clark, have you done that yet?
Not yet. They were out of them once I got there.
Ah, unfortunate.
Like I don't know. Like I feel like Trauma it's almost like pro wrestling. Like when it comes to like the video game space. So there's a lot of people wearing like Stone Cold shirts at SGF that like immediately were like, "Oh, referee!" Oh, like you mean like wrestling referee? And others that were like, "Oh, referee. Okay, cool." Like it's not a bad thing. It was just like it's one of those things like it either instantly resonates with you or it's just a thing.
Yeah. Well, again, just looking at that it looks like a really cool game. Again, I gave some references of things that I think that it looks like, and once again, there is a demo over on Steam right now that you can play and check it out to see if you will like it. Just like Clark here. But Clark, the only thing that I'm seeing is that they don't have a release date on it. Did they say anything to you at the show about a release date or a release window that they're kind of targeting?
I think they did, but if it's not out there, then it's not out there.
Okay, yeah. Obviously,
Yep.
right now on Steam, it just says coming soon, and obviously, haven't done a huge deep dive on it. Oh, actually, it looks like it still says coming soon on Steam, but they're targeting Q2 2025, which technically ends at the end of this month. So I think it's probably a little bit later than that. So we'll see, of course, what ends up being the case from there. But yeah, I will pass along of coming soon Q2 2025. We'll see when they actually put a release date out there for that.
Sure.
So Clark, we're gonna go to the bad game, so to speak, the game that maybe I don't know exactly what you brought. Again, this is kind of why it's interesting to me is that like I didn't have you tell me these games ahead of time. So I gave you
Yep.
give me a game that quote unquote was bad or something that maybe disappointed you at the show. So what are you bringing for me on game number 5?
Sure. I don't want to say it's like a cop out by saying like, okay, it was like a game I played at the mix, because like most of the games I get to play at SGF, like at both SGF and at the mix were great. This one though, like it just didn't really hit for me. It's an upcoming game called Flesh Made Fear. Um, and I feel bad because like it looks like it's getting good reviews, but the demo I got to play, it's a throwback to like the PlayStation 1 era survival horror. Um, I I like tank controls like for modern games or like Fox retro games just don't do it for me anymore. And the inventory system, maybe like I said, like maybe they fix it. Maybe like trying to demo now, like it plays well, but I didn't like that. Anytime you had to like grab an item and unlock a door, it actually like jump into the menu instead of like Resident Evil. It's like, okay, if you got this key, do you want to use it on the door? It's like, no, you'd have to like make a conscious decision of like, oh, I've got this key.
Yeah, so I paused there for a second because I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything else you wanted to add to that segment. But like I will say, I have a video that is going to be coming up. So there's a connection here, but there's a game that's coming out later this year in September called Hell Is Us, and
Oh, sure.
I recently played that, and I'm going to give my thoughts on how that goes. But I wanted to. You talked about like for instance, oh, you got a key and it pops up like that was that is a game where it's like you show up to a segment where you clearly know that you got to insert something, and like the game will bring up basically a sub menu of like all the items that you have, and then it's like yes, like you could click in all of them, and like some of them will be like this doesn't fit, but like it very much doesn't take you out of the experience. Like it's very much just like okay, like here's the thing, here's your selectable items, what do you want to select? But it sounds like you're saying is that this one went real old school where it was like, you walk up to the thing, you gotta pause and bring up the menu, taking you fully out of the experience to go into it.
And it was that, and also just even having to ask like, hey, how do I reload? Because it was like I had to like combine the ammo box with the weapon.
Okay. So yeah, so they're really taking old school Resident Evil 1 and 2 experience where it's the whole drag and drop kind of experience. Yeah, reading from the Steam page real quick, it said literally right off the front, this is not even getting to the description of the game. It literally says tank controls, fixed camera, pure terror. Set in a haunting world of twisted experiments and occult nightmares, this game brings back the survival horror mechanics you know and love while pushing the genre into terrifying new depths. So it sounds like you were saying, though, unfortunately, you do not love the PS1 controls anymore, and so you're kind of like, hold off on this.
Right. Like, yeah, maybe this is a game for the purist, or getting only like I'd say like 20 minutes worth of it. I'm like, who knows? Like maybe this has like a cool story. Maybe it starts to introduce like some interesting enemy types or boss types, but just from what I saw, I was like, okay, those are things that didn't impress me.
Yeah, well, I will say, obviously, just because it didn't connect with Clark, of course, and he would admit it too, doesn't mean that it may not connect with you. So there
Absolutely.
is a demo currently available for the game over on Steam once again. So you can go and check this out, see if it connects with you. I mean, visual wise, again, some people don't like the old school graphics. Visually, this looks like a really great game. So I could see potentially like why there's a little bit of disappointment of there is a really cool look to this, but then yeah, I don't know
Yep.
how tank controls would feel for me at this point in time either. But again,
And
demo
who
right now coming out October 31st makes total sense for the game.
and it's like, I feel like a few games that have done this, like I think like Tormented Souls and a few others come to mind where they have an option. They have an option right off the bat where it's like you can toggle like old school or modern controls. If they have that, then I'm sold.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Of course, again, that comes out October 31st, so Halloween of this year. Let's wrap up the games that you got to go play over at SGF. Again, you had a laundry list of games you got to play, but we're gonna finish it out with a good one. Okay, we're gonna end you with some dessert,
Finishing
so to
strong.
speak. So, Clark, what is the final game you're bringing to us that you played over at SGF?
Sure. I'm trying to think just because there is a lot that there's a lot where I'm like, okay, did I really get to like sink my teeth into this?
Well, all demos, of course, like this, especially at these shows, they got a lot of people they're trying to get through. So that's why it's always curious of like, how much time did you actually get to spend on it?
Right. And that's also where like it's tough to like categorize everything into like good, bad, okay, because like it's like a 20 to 30 minute demo.
Yeah.
It might not even be like their sizzle reel or like their get right to the good stuff. It could be just like, hey, here's what we have that's playable.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see, another one for mix that stood out for me. I was like instantly in love with the art style. It's called Neon Inferno.
Oh, yeah. I know about this game.
Okay, cool, yeah. Um, when it was like right next to the Toxic Avenger booth. There was like someone else there, and I'm like, hey, do you want to squat up? And we got to run it co-op style, and I don't know, like I'm like Shadowrun as like a tabletop game, and as um like the video game series, like that whole like cyberpunk aesthetic immediately is like I'm in. And it reminded me of like a lot of the arcade shooters that I played growing up. Like I think like they're called like Cabal inspired, where it's like you're a dude that you like go back and forth like on the foreground, but you're also like shooting things and dodging things in the background.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool that they kind of took those mechanics and also put some spins on there. So it was like there's parry mechanics, there's bullet time mechanics based off of the parries. Um, it was the demo they have out on Steam was pretty much the one I played there, and it was a lot of fun. I honestly found myself getting distracted by like all the stuff happening in the background because I'm a big fan of pixel art.
Yeah, this is a game that I believe originally got revealed and maybe it wasn't originally revealed, but at least the one that when it caught my attention was at um uh I don't remember what they actually call it, but it's like Mix Fest, and it was during GDC that Kind of Funny does like this big event with the Mix during it, and they show off a
Sure.
bunch of games. And they showed off Neon Inferno. It is coming out October 1st. It's another game that's published by Retroware. So, another game up your radar that you were talking about earlier. And yeah, I really like the aesthetic, the cyberpunk aspect. This pixel art looks beautiful. I haven't gotten a chance to try this demo out just yet, but some games that it reminds me of that I was like trying to type it here, while I was you were
Contra.
talking is yes, like Contra, but like Wild Guns.
Yep.
back on the
Yeah.
PS1, and one game that I loved so much called Sunset Riders. If you might remember that game, um,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
a lot
Yep.
a
Yep.
lot of people don't remember Sunset Riders. I loved Sunset Riders. I love like it was just a fantastic game. And so like it's that fact of like you getting to shoot, as you said, like you're shooting in front of you, behind you, above you, into the background as well. And in this game, as you said, there's appears to be two people. There's a male character and a female character, and reading from their again, the Steam page real quick is Neon Inferno is a hybrid side scroller and gallery shooter where the action takes place in both the foreground and the background. As warring factions battle for control of a dystopian New York City, you enter the fray as an assassin for the Family, a notorious crime syndicate determined to eliminate its rivals and dominate the metropolitan battlefield. So yeah, it's a fantastic looking game. You talked a little bit about it, but how fluid did this feel? Because watching the gameplay, it looks so smooth.
It was so smooth. Um, Being able like there's like a section where you hop onto a motorcycle, and like if you're doing it like a two-player mode, like one person is doing the lane shifts and like shooting in the front. The other person is, I think, like shooting in the foreground, and like just the way like it like transition from like background stuff to like more platforming stuff to like, oh, here's a boss battle. Like it was just like instant, like hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you thought this game looks good because again, this was something I was keeping on my radar because I thought it looked really fantastic during that initial reveal from my experience. And again, I'm glad from you talking about it that I found out there was a demo. So I'm literally downloading it as we speak, so I can try it for myself a little bit later.
Sure. And I guess like, like honorable mentions for like cool stuff I got to see out at Summer Game Fest. Got to try out the Dark Tide update. Like I'm a big like Warhammer fan, so getting to preview the new class is awesome. 'Cause, like it's the Arbiter class. You get a dog. You get to pet the dog. Like I immediately checked that right away, and if if you're a fan of Dark Tide, like it'll be worth scooping that character. It was not playable, unfortunately.
Ah, okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot that like I didn't get a chance to try what was it? Firebreak, FBC Firebreak. Like that line was bonkers, like for pretty much like the whole fest.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that, real
Um
quick, while you think of some other honorable mentions, that did just release, and it is on PlayStation Plus as well as Game Pass, so you can go ahead and check it out yourself. I know it got mixed reviews, but hey, maybe it'll connect with you.
sure. Um they're not really a game per se, but very game related. It was awesome that Wizards of the Coast had a booth set up to showcase the Final Fantasy release.
Ah, yeah. They're trying to get me. They're trying to get me, Clark. They know my Final Fantasy love. They're trying to get me.
Ben Starr was like wandering around too, so I'm pretty sure there's a non-zero chance someone pulled one of the chase cards, which is Clive, and got it signed by Ben.
Oh, that'd be sick. I won't lie. Even though he didn't voice him, Ben and I share a deep love for Squall, Final Fantasy VIII. So if I pulled it, I might have been like, "Yo, sign my Squall." Like
Yeah, sure.
this is my guy. Like I know.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, the card set. I got to I've been playing Magic since early 90s. Like my first set was, I had a joke, like my first set was the Ice Age, and I sent like old guy emotes when like they send out surveys like, what's your experience level? Um and I figured like, like I'm a new person coming into SGF. A lot of the bigger outlets have already probably gotten like exclusives on what's to come with Final Fantasy. So I just sat down with the lead designer. We played a couple games and just kind of gushed about how much we love Final Fantasy.
Nice. That's really awesome. One question in chat that I'm actually a little curious about too was a game that was notable to me and Kairu was Ill. So was Ill at all playable at SGF?
Unfortunately, no. Like that one, that was one that stood out for me. Felt like boxing was another one where I was like, that would have been cool if they had a demo.
Oh yeah.
What was the one where it's a co-op game? You're two characters with that can't speak. Is it like
Oh,
I have
it's
no
out of
words?
words. Out of words.
Out of words. Yep. Yeah, that was another one that stood out. Another one that I didn't get hands on with, but a lot of people had fun with was the Lego game that was announced.
Was it the Lego Party game?
Yes.
Lego Party? Nice. I'm glad to hear that. I'm a sucker for party games. I won't lie. And of course, freaking Mario Party is like all-time fun, shenanigans with friends. So I'm glad that you heard that people had a good time with that.
Then I also got to try one called Bandit Trap, which would be up your alley too if you like party games.
Bandit Trap. I don't
It's
know that one.
What's the term for it where it's like you're like 1v3, 1v4? Is that isometric? Asymmetric?
Oh yeah, it's asymmetric. Yeah.
Okay. It's an asymmetric game. It kind of plays a little bit like Luigi's Mansion meets Home Alone.
That sounds like a good combo.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of bandits trying to break into a house, and like you're if you're the I don't know the Kevin or the Home Alone person, you're setting up traps and stuff to keep them from getting all the treasures.
Okay.
The physics on that were ridiculous. Like, all traps would be comboed and like send you flying through a wall. Like you'd like actually get sent out of the house, and it's like, what would the character style? I would describe it as like kind of like repo-ish, where you're just these little guys, so it's like an extra layer of silly when they were just getting destroyed by these traps.
Well, I want to just real quick apologize to my audio listeners because you talked about this, and then as I looked it up, I realized that you can request to be in the playtest for this game. So I pulled it up on to request the playtest, and the trailer video started playing in the background. So I was trying to quickly mute it.
Gotcha. Sure.
So yeah, sorry, audio listeners, but Clark sold me on trying out this game, so I'm looking to try to get into it.
Sure, and I think that's like the beauty of SGF, where it's like, for me, some of the party games, I'm like, they're a lot of fun, but like, occasionally for me trying to round up like 3 to 4 other like especially like streamer folks, trying to coordinate schedules can be tough. So
Oh yeah.
But for people that are like all in on that genre, I'm like, yeah, like that's like a game like that, or a game like Firebreak is like, or even Night Rain. Those are some good ones to grab.
Yeah, speaking of Night Rain, I still got to pick that up. The game that Clark was talking about was called, again, Bandit Trap. Bandit Trap. Also, it currently says it has a demo, but I don't know if that is like what that entails just yet. But you can request to be in the playtest. I put the request in. There is no release date, at least currently, available for the game. Just says coming soon, so we'll keep that in mind. But Clark, I have to say, Bandit Trap's release is going to be coming. It says coming soon. It's definitely coming down the line. It ain't coming soon. But I will tell you about some games that are coming soon, the games that are coming out today, going into next week. And that is games like, starting with tomorrow, Thursday, June 19th, we have Raidu Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Switch and Switch 2, and PC. Rematch, a game that I'm really, really looking forward to. PS5, Xbox Series, PC. It's also coming out on Game Pass. Robots at Midnight for Xbox Series and PC. Star Overdrive for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Through the Nightmares for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. On Monday, June 23rd, you have Outrider Mako for PC. Tuesday, June 24th, you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate for Xbox Series and Xbox One. Wednesday, June 25th, you have I Am Your Beast for PS5 and Xbox Series. Marvel Mystic Mayhem for iOS and Android. Once Upon a Puppet for Switch. Thursday, June 26th is a big day. It has Black Desert, a native version for PS5 and Xbox Series. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach for PS5. Persona 5, The Phantom X for PC, iOS, and Android. Rufy and the Riverside for PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. System Shock 2 25th Anniversary Remaster for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And then on Friday, June 27th, rounding out the week, is Bendy and the Ink Machine for PS5 and Xbox Series, Tamagotchi Plaza for Switch 2 and Switch, and Until Then for Switch. Clark, are any of these games catching your attention?
I mean, I think that Death Stranding game might be on my radar. I did get to see the. I have like two key moments from SGF. Immediately after the SGF festival let out, I got to attend a YouTube creator meetup that was like just upstairs. As soon as I got settled in, Kojima walked like right in front of me, and I was starstruck. I was like, "What? What?" Like I started seeing like the Kojima production shirts from like Crew, but then yeah, seeing the man in flesh, and then also getting to attend the Death Stranding 2 release at premiere that also occurred during that week. That was sweet.
Yeah, are you talking about the event that happened on Sunday night, I believe, that was hosted
Yep.
by like Jeff Keighley and stuff?
Yep, hosted by Jeff Keighley. Kojima came. There's like Woodman and Troy Baker and some other folks like on the panel.
That's really awesome. I didn't get to catch that. I think they streamed it, so if somebody wants to watch it, they can go watch those things. But yeah, I haven't beat Death Stranding. I'm going to be honest, but I am still currently playing Death Stranding director's cut, and yeah, man, it is so good. It is so good.
Sure. I didn't know Rider Remastered was like coming up quick. I feel like I need to turn in my RPG card because like I wanted to grab like the Lunar Remastered, the Suikoden Remastered, and this, but I'm like they're gonna be in the backlog, and I just don't have the budget's a little tight at the moment.
Clark, you have a backlog? What kind of gamer are you? No, just kidding. Everybody has a backlog. No, I feel you. So funny enough, I will say real quick. So for myself, there's a number of games on this list, and I'm going to go through them as I talk about this. But recently, so full disclosure, I don't have kids, but we always, in my family, celebrate Father's Day because I have a fur baby, my dog here. And so my wife was like, I want to get you a game. And originally, I was like, oh, get me Rematch, because I so love that game. I put 17 hours into the beta. I was having such a blast with it. But because it's coming out for Game Pass, I kind of started like holding off on like, should I get it? Should I not? And so I currently haven't gotten it. Because then I also was like, well, I also want Raidu Remastered, and so like that's coming out on the same day. Do I want to get that? Speaking of what you said, I also was like to my wife, or I could get Elden Ring because like I kind of want to get Elden Ring Night Rain, and so I have a backlog like crazy, as Kairu says in there. Dar has a backlog that's been sitting for 10 years. Yeah,
yeah. I've got like my immediate shelf, and then like my actual like collection.
Yeah, I have so many games that I like. I either started and put like 2 hours into it and was like, I can't get distracted by this by now, and then kept doing that, or I just haven't booted it up, but we'll get to there. So Raidu Remastered, of course, Rematch is also on that list. As you said, Death Stranding 2, even though it is a gacha game, I am excited to at least try out Persona 5 The Phantom X. I have heard really good things from its release in China and Japan prior to this, so I am, again, interested in trying that. And I'm going to give this a shout out. It's on like every other platform. It just is now finally coming to Switch. But it's a game that I've been wanting to play since it came out. Until Then is a fantastically received game. Also beautiful pixel art. And they do have a DLC that is coming out at some point. I'm not sure when, but there is something for that coming out down the line. And so like I want to dive into it because from everything that I've seen, it has a beautiful story, beautiful connection.
Oh yeah, I'm
And
looking at it now, and this looks cool.
yeah, so Until Then is another highlight that I would shout out. And again, it's been out, but coming to Switch, another opportunity for people to play. But that is it for the podcast. Clark, thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast today. Before we sign out, I usually end with a couple of things, so I'll give two things. For first off, is there where can people find you if they want to follow?
Sure. I am referee Clark on all of my socials. That is like one referee, like no space, just referee Clark. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, etc. I try to stream daily, Mondays through Fridays on TikTok and YouTube, and then it kind of varies for Twitch. You can also find my writing out at lv1gaming.com. And Referee Clark is my website in case you want to grab a mug or shirt or anything like that.
Yeah, he does
You can
have
also
some merchandise.
yeah, you can also catch me at places like First Wrestling, Fest Wrestling, different promotions kind of all around the states.
Yeah, I want to shout out. You have an event coming up. I think it is in like 2 weeks, if I remember correctly. First Wrestling, WrestlePalooza, is also coming.
Oh,
out.
that's this weekend.
This
Depending on like
weekend.
when this episode drops. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because me and my wife, we won't be able to make it, but I kept trying to figure out if we can swing it and make it happen. So if you have the opportunity to come up to the Minneapolis area and want to see Clark show off his wrestling chops as the referee inside the ring, go to First Avenue Wrestling Palooza. And again, also with what Clark said, all of his links are down in the description below, so be sure to go check those out and give him a follow. And so then after that, is there anything you'd like to say, Clark, before we sign off for this podcast?
It's as gamers, we're eating pretty good. Like this is an exciting time for gaming. There's almost like too many games, but I feel like that's the best problem to have.
Oh yeah. Too many games is the personal, stab to the heart, but yes, at the same time, a fantastic opportunity to come and check out all the various games that Clark talked about coming up at some point throughout the year, and then again, some of those other games that I dropped that are releasing within the next week. So with that all being said, thank you everyone for tuning in to the One More Game podcast. Again, thank you, Clark, for taking the time to join us here on the One More Game podcast. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, again, make sure you hit the follow button or the subscribe button, depending on what your podcast service offers, and also leave a review so that you can let everyone else know and help them discover the One More Game podcast. So with that all being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, stay hydrated, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep on gaming. We'll see you all on the next podcast, video, or stream. But until then, enjoy yourselves.